Gunjoh guazawado hunsiost. Gari huaya dago wahwado antke waninega dogara nigawanege. The operating room is a disorienting place. The bright lights, the whirring machines, the sterile surfaces all draped in blue that say, "Do not touch." I'm standing at the head of our patient's OR table when she's wheeled into the room. Today, we're here for a procedure to address a complication of early pregnancy loss. I help get her situated and comfortable. Her eyes dart across the room, and she's silent, though she nods affirmatively to the staff explaining our process to her. Yago wazaranondo, her voice is suspended. As healthcare providers, we spend years training to be in this space with our patients, to participate in this duty of care. And yet, in this moment, I am at a pause. What could I possibly say to this person? I'm reminded of a time in my own life when I too felt voiceless. Back in 2017, I was under a cloak of depression, so heavy that I slept for weeks. I had lost all ability to describe what was happening inside of me. Wahde wagadon hunja garadenyo, the earth had changed around me, and I was lonesome for it. A well-intentioned friend swooped in and rescued me from my couch. As she was driving us down to Ithaca, I furrowed my brow like a captive. When we arrived to this giant blue warehouse, I learned there was a used book sale going on inside. My friend didn't seem to notice my hesitation and weary glances as she skipped happily off into the aisles, crowded with books and people. I made a beeline escape towards a quiet room off in the corner, the rare book section. I noticed it almost immediately. Black binding with red letters, "New Voices from the Longhouse." I opened this book to a picture of a young man smiling wide between two thick braids. It was my great uncle, Adarong Hyatago. His name meaning a sky that's bursting open. In his chapter, he tells the story of Ayonwata, a man who had lost everything precious in his life, his daughters, 7 of them, his entire community. So he resigned himself to the shores of a lake, ready to give up, when suddenly an enormous flock of geese filled the sky, swooped down, and carried away the face of the water on their backs. Shimmering there in the exposed silt were purple and white shells that Ayonwata collected. He said, "If I should ever meet a person who is burdened by grief like mine, I will use these ohnehgora, these strands of wampum, to signify those condoling words that we can offer each other to uplift our minds. I stood there in a stupor. Big tears clouded my vision and wetted the pages in my hands. A volunteer approached awkwardly and whispered, "Is everything okay here?" "Yeah," I said, "but I think I should buy this book now that I've soaked it." A few weeks later, I drove up north to Akwesasne and was sitting on my uncle's front porch under the hot summer sun. I came looking for answers. Rageno, uncle, I feel so lost. I desperately need to know, what were those words that Ayawata found for us? He gave that big smile, that same from the book, but this one on a face that had known many years and losses since. Oh Nayawa, Zahni Gore Wa Aro. What happened is that your mind become divided, he said. And in that grief, you forgot that we people were given original instructions, a way to do life, and with it, words, our own unique language to reach out to each other, to the natural world for support. He retrieved these strands of purple and white beads and proceeded to walk me through the ritual protocol behind them. First, he took a piece of white dough cloth and wiped my face. Then he took a white feather and brushed my ears. Finally, he gave me a drink of cold water to wash away any of those lingering obstructions in my throat. As we sat there talking, the sun set over the St. Lawrence River and the sky blossomed, pinks and oranges, blues and purples. True to his name, my uncle brought vibrant color back into the world for other people. I knew right then and there, I wanted to do the same. When he sent me off back home to Rochester, I felt a weight lifted. But still, underneath that joy, there were some frustrations teeming. How would I know if these words, these protocols, would make any sense in a world that is so unlike that of our elders? Would this have the same power in a world that had forgotten us, Ungwahonga people? I had to go back into the world. I had to become a part of it again. Over the next 3 years, I split my time, the real estate in my brain, between studying up on those old speeches and filling some space with volumes of the medical scientific information. I carried these strands with me everywhere. I started to take pictures of the places we traveled together. My therapist's waiting room, in and out of the medical center, along my favorite stretches of the Genesee River as she courses her way through downtown Gatskun-Seragu. Eventually, I shared some of these snapshots with my uncle. There he was, his same little smirk. You know, it'd be really nice if you took them to Onyahtario, Lake Ontario. I couldn't resist the urge to hatch that perfect plan. Duran Beach, early winter, the beads out over the horizon at sunrise. On the chosen morning, I left Strong Hospital from an overnight shift and headed north. It started raining. When I got there, it was gray. There was no perfect sunrise. Almost begrudgingly, I set up my tripod, my camera pointed north over the lake, and held the strands out between the two. Just as I hit my timer, I could hear their voices in the distance. Gahunk, gahunk, gahunk. 24 geese flew overhead and swept down across the water, and the click, click, click of my camera, capturing this moment of perfect alignment. Once again, I was in a stupor, those big tears rolling down my cheek as the rain drizzled on my face. But something felt different this time. I felt acknowledged by all of those cycles of the natural world. Gatset stansara gowa sa oyera, our elders say. It's that great mystery of life that moves through all living things. I felt it burning inside of me with those words and memories that were here long before we arrived, that would be here long after we've gone home. Always waiting for me, always ready. Agwego yonwana nawa and the wet nuni. G rondo yehtini gorda getsquas. Agwegos kana skahni gorio wehti de huatadi no huarado. Those warm, precious words. We use them to bundle each other up and to hold ourselves and each other and offer greetings and gratitude. I'm standing with my patient in the OR, and I notice tears welling up in her eyes. So I grab a white cloth from the sterile linen cabinet, and as I blot her cheeks, I lean in and ask if I can share something with her. She nods. I could never fully understand the depths of your grief in this moment. But my elders, they remind me of this. We stand with you here today to offer you some of our strength, to remind you of a time in your life when you felt strong. And we start by wiping away your tears, not so that you will not cry, but so that you might see again all of the people in your life who hold you up, so that you might see clearly again at some time beauty in this great and mysterious world. She squeezes my hand and says, thank you for remembering. Negi niga don toniga wanage. Those are my words. Thank you.